get your life back to normal. Lonnie with Restore It Restoration.
Hey everybody, welcome to another edition of the Service Guys podcast. I'm producer Rue, and on the other mic, on the other end of the call, we have our service professional, I don't know why I always stumble there, but our service professional, Lonnie Beecham. Hey Lonnie, what's going on?
How you doing, Ruel? It's going.
Yeah, it's
life
going.
Is life.
It's been pretty. Yeah, life is life. I understand it's today's kind of crunch time, getting a lot done, kind of going with the flow and getting caught up with getting really embedded in what's going on in the day and maybe losing track of time. Does that sound right?
Pretty much. Working on a very complicated mold job that it's actually
really?
in 18 years that I've been doing this. This is the very first house I could not sketch out on my estimating software that makes it look like a real house, like you can look at it from the top down. Too many angles, and my system doesn't like angles. It's complicated. Don't want to bore you, but that's what I've been working on. And I did get to take my new sister-in-law. I mean, I just call her my sister now, but I got to take Amber with me to look at this mold job yesterday. So that was kind of cool. She got to kind of see what all I do and look at everything that I look at. I gave her a new one shirt to wear so that she looked like she was part of the team and not just a out-of-town visitor. But yep. So
are you gonna employ her?
No, because I have dinner with her and Trey tomorrow, and I think we have plans for Saturday night. And after that, I probably won't see them till I don't know when. I mean, there is a talk of a meetup in New York City, and I don't know if I can afford the time or the money to go. So I don't know when I'll see them again, to be honest.
Cool. I could ask you to give my regards, but I could easily just text them as well.
There you go.
You know, you mentioned, you said you didn't want to bore folks, but I was curious when you talked about, I guess, mocking up the structure for the mold job. And are you talking about some sort of software that sort of allows you to draw up the structure?
Yes. See, in restoration work, be it water or mold or fire or whatever the situation may be, everything we do, our prices are based on square foot pricing. So what that means to you as a listener is, so if the room is 12 foot by 12 foot, that's 144 square feet. So if I'm doing something that's 20 cents a square foot, we work solely off of the sketch, if it's that kind of work. And so the system that everybody uses, well, there's two or three, but the main one that 90% of the people use is called Xactimate. So me and all my competitors, like when we were talking with Craig a month or so ago, like remember I said I could theoretically move to Massachusetts tomorrow and I could be on the same page as him. It's because we're all on the same software and it's based on your zip code. So
I gotcha.
So whenever I come into your house, I take a lot of measurements. Windows, door openings, casings, linear feet of baseboards, linear feet of upper cabinets, base cabinets, dishwashers, garbage disposal, sinks, outlets, outlet covers, switch plate covers. There's a lot that goes into putting together an estimate. Well, my Xactimate,
gotcha.
It prefers a square room or, rectangular square rooms is what it prefers. If there's an angle in your house, people have angular walls and stuff to be fancy. It only likes a 90-degree angle, a 45 or 22.5-degree angle. If it's anything outside of that, it just does not like it. And it sends me a message that says, basically, it says, we don't know what you're doing, so we're going to shut this system down until you figure out what you're doing. So then I got to go back in and log in and enter in all the passwords and get back in the thing and then try to go and move these walls around. And it just does not like it. normally, yeah, and I can send you a text picture just, later to show you what I'm talking about. But normally my sketches look like you're just standing at the roof line looking straight down into the house. It's a footprint. Well, this house is so cut up and angled on angles with weird angles on it that I cannot even put these rooms next to each other and make it look like a house. I just got little boxes with triangular shaped rooms sketched into it now, and I got that finally done. So now I got to go through and hit my line items that says, HEPA, vacuum everything in detail, wipe, clean everything in detail, HEPA, vacuum everything again, put my air scrubbers in, count out windows and door openings and doorknobs and stuff like that. So it's kind of involved. So.
Gotcha.
Does that make any sense?
Yeah, it does. It does. It reminds me of, when you talk about structures with all these weird angles and stuff, it reminds me of over here in San Jose, California, there's a place called the Winchester House. Have you heard of it?
Yeah. Nope.
So its name is it's the same name, Winchester, for the Winchester rifle.
Okay.
And
now that I have.
So when I guess the wife of the guy, Mr. Winchester, I guess we'll call him, when he passed away, the wife felt that a lot of lives were taken as a result of the technology, the Winchester.
Yeah.
And so she felt that in order to, I guess, keep the spirits sort of at bay or appeased, she had to make rooms in the house for these ghosts. So what she did was she built out the house with a lot of rooms. And because there was only a limited amount of space to create more rooms, she created, I guess, the illusion that there were other rooms. So what would happen is, because this is an actual attraction here in the Bay Area, you pay tickets, you go in line, and you take a tour of the house, but you'll find doors where there shouldn't be doors, and if they can even be opened, they just open up straight into a wall, or there are doors that are up on angles on the ceiling or something. So it's really, really, really wonky, if you will. Can you imagine?
Sounds like a nightmare for me.
Cool.
Sounds like a nightmare for me. So,
speaking of spirits and nightmares, by the time this episode is released, it would be about a week out from Halloween. So last night, as of this recording, was Halloween. How did that go at your house?
For me, let me see. That was last night, wasn't it? I'm in the age bracket where I don't do much. My youngest went to Grandma and Grandpa's house with my wife to give out candy. She's past the age of wanting to dress up and go walk around and stuff in the rain. And my oldest, she went with her boyfriend they went trick-or-treating. They dressed up as Jim and Pam from The Office. Her boyfriend was the three-hole punch, and she dressed up like the cat or whatever that Pam character did. And his family took them around trick-or-treating. I don't know where they went. So it was very uneventful for me. I actually ended up like hanging out on the front porch of a neighbor's house that has a gathering at their place and give out candy. And I was just kind of there to actually tease the wife, because the night before she called the fire department again. They lived there 10 years, and she's been the only one to call the fire department twice in 10 years. So I was giving her a hard time. So yeah, we survived. Everybody came home, and everybody had, bags of candy and kind of uneventful in my world.
So you have a crazy neighbor lady who annually around Halloween calls the fire department?
Well, it's about, I was teasing her about once every 5 years, she'll smell gas in her house. And And she comes over to me one time. She just literally jumped out of the shower and just threw a robe on, and it's cold. She's standing on my front doorstep, barefoot and dripping wet. And she's like, I got gas in my house. My water heater's doing something weird. Can you come look at it? I'm like, sure. And went in and looked at it. And sure enough, she had a pretty big problem. And yeah, I don't know. She just smells gas and calls the fire department. And
legit.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. I thought it was like every year she dresses up as a flame and she calls the fire department. Put me out, somebody. Put me out.
Yeah, Tuesday night. Yeah, she was smelling gas outside and then freaked out and called the fire department. It was kind of funny. I was giving her a hard time. We're good friends. It was we do barbecues and stuff together, and their son comes over and gets babysat by my oldest from time to time. So
sounds good to me. It wasn't that eventful either. The kids are old enough to all do the candy begging, on their own 2 feet. I still accompany them, but at least I don't have to like carry a kid on my hip and
right. I remember those days.
Candy. So now it's sort of like everybody, gets moving on their own. I just sort of trail along and sort of guide them as to which house looks welcoming for the evening, and even if it does and nobody answers, to sort of, figure out how much is a good amount of time to wait before just calling it quits, and also to pay attention to, certain neighbors are really particular about their grass, about their lawn. They rip it up regularly and make it look nice regularly. So for those particular neighbors, I stress to the kids, just stay on the sidewalk, stay on the driveway, get off the grass.
Right. Well, that's just common courtesy. If you're even when I go to work, I park on the street, I walk the driveway, walk the sidewalk. I don't just cut through the grass because I don't know these people half the time, and at first, and it's like, yeah. So I don't want them looking out the window seeing me just traipsing through their freshly sodded yard, and so I do that too. I teach my kids to just always walk the pavement. Besides that, who wants to step in dog doo-doo and get wet grass on your feet? And I don't like it any more than anybody else. So
yeah, it was a good night. As soon as my daughter was too tired to carry her own bucket of candy, and that was pretty much it for the night. And the boys were fine. They wanted to bail sooner than their sister, but so got home in time to actually give out candy and enjoy a little drink.
It's weird. I live in a historic neighborhood in Jeff City. It's actually called the Four Corners, and I live in one of those neighborhoods where I don't know what time of year. I've never signed up for it, but a lot of my neighbors will sign up to be part of a walking tour to come in and see their house. They're old houses, historic houses, and stuff like that. And you would think we would just have a gob of trick-or-treaters, but we don't. I mean, we've tried it in the past. We don't even try it anymore. We'll get 3 trick-or-treaters. It's like, well, why buy 20 pounds of candy for 3 kids? I mean, it sounds bad. It sounds mean, but yeah. So we just don't live. I don't know why we don't have more trick-or-treaters. We wanted to do the candy thing before we had kids and stuff, but then once you start getting kids and you're lugging them around, taking them to grandma and grandpa's and stuff like that, so everybody could see their costumes. We weren't home, and now we're kind of home more now, and we still don't have trick-or-treaters.
Yeah, we had those years where we were expecting a whole lot of activity in the evening, but nothing. And we learned that on one year there was some major sporting event, and folks rather just gathered during these sort of Halloween parties and did Halloween that way. And there was another year where, we just figured, with the people who were living in the neighborhood, their kids got too old to even care, or they didn't have kids. But enough time has passed since then where there are a lot more young ones And so last night was pretty good. The activity was pretty good. Nothing crazy, but you could definitely feel it. You weren't the only group of kids on the street hunting for garbage.
Well, now what's weird is you go one block over, and it's like Grand Central Station. Thousands of kids all over the place. You would think they would just come right around the corner, and yeah.
Wow.
So what are we talking about today? You got a topic? You got a question? You got something you want me to diagnose for your own house, 1,700 miles away?
I have an update. Last time we spoke about my fee traps.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I took care of the work. I took care of the job, and it was pretty satisfying. I mean,
what did you have to do?
It was just like you described. Just get a big old bucket or something, stick it under the P trap, and they definitely were hand tightened. So I hand loosened them and pulled the P traps out and cleaned them out. Had to pull apart that little what do you call it? It's sort of like a lever that does the stopper and whatnot.
Yeah, stopper plunger.
Yeah. So cleared out hair and a bunch of cruddy goop and stuff, and brushed out.
Wasn't it?
Yeah, but I can see where if the inner linings of those pipes aren't clear and smooth, that any little bit of crud can just latch on and over time accumulate. But you were right, that stuff stunk. So I took care of too. Obviously, there's two sinks in the master. The sink that my wife uses most of the time, that's the one that's got hair in it, right?
Well, yeah, of course.
So that, yeah.
You know what I do to clear hair clogs at my house?
What do you do?
I bring my $60,000 rig home, drag out hoses, hook it up to the machine, and just suck it out.
That's an idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not everybody has that at their disposal. And then when I'm there, I just also break out, some other tools, and I'll clean my ceramic tile and upholstery and my rugs and my neighbor's rugs and everybody else. I just bring it home. But yeah, when you're standing in the shower and it's backing up, oh man, my 14-year-old just loses gobs of hair every day. And it's like, one of these days I'm going to have to bring it home the truck and put it on the drain and suck the hair out, and it's nasty. Ugh. And I've tried all the hair catchers and stuff, and if you get a good hair catcher, then it backs up the water just because it doesn't let water through fast enough, but it catches the hair. But hair just drives me nuts. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. You were talking about your wife's hairy thing.
I'm talking about my wife's hairy thing. Yeah, I was worried that I had to get a sink snake or whatever those things were, but I just managed to get through it all with a toothbrush. Pretty good.
There you go.
Yeah, so that's that. Oh, I did, you mentioned carpet, and I did get some carpet work done recently. And
what do you have?
So we just had a lot of high traffic areas that need to be dealt with.
Yeah.
And we've typically used the Stanley steamer guys. And
how did that work for you? I want to hear your honest feedback. Oh, what price did they give you over the phone or on their website, and then what did you end up paying?
So here's on their website, right? I used to do this thing where I would take advantage of like a $99 for one room clean and a one room protection. And that was pretty much it. And I wanted to just do that. And when I've done that in the past, and this is where it's not consistent, when I've done it in the past, it took care of the areas that I wanted to, which are basically the front room, which merges into the dining room, and then two little tiny small, I guess, halls that one that leads into the back of the house to where the kitchen is, and then one that leads off to the side that heads towards a bedroom, bathroom, and the laundry room. So in the past, I've gotten all of that done, but this guy comes in and it's like, no, this is actually 2 rooms and those are actually 2 hallways. I'm like, okay, I get it. That was my initial thought years ago, but it had evolved into, no, I should be able to cover it in like a 1-room deal or a 1 room or 2 rooms. I don't know. So that I wasn't able to get that sort of deal this time around. And their website no longer allows someone to buy just that $99 deal. There was a $145 minimum this time around. So that meant I had to basically up my job to 2 rooms, 2 rooms for clean, 2 rooms for protection. And then I'm like, just to get over the hump of getting to a 145 minimum, I had to like throw in, I'll do like a 1-room deodorizer, right? Just to get the thing to get it done. Because I knew that once the guy came in, I could change my order. And so what ended up happening was I was able to get a 145 price instead that would cover the high traffic areas that went from that front room through the dining area to the hall that heads to the the kitchen, and then the hall that goes towards the laundry. So I was able to get a 145 deal for that. And the way we worked around that was not worry about a third or a half of the front room and the dining room that basically was full of furniture, right? Because those didn't have the staining that we were concerned about. They were pretty much untouched. They're not highly trafficked. So like, that makes sense. Let's just focus on the high traffic areas and we'll be fine. I have no problems with only half a room being wet or, so.
How long did it take to dry?
Well, in addition to those areas, we threw in the 1 room that was at the end of that 1 hall, and because we've never had it done before, and that's our kids' playroom. That's where all the kids' books and toys and video games are typically at. So, over the years, that place had gotten a little wear and staining. So we added that, which upped the job to about $200. So,
Did they try to sell you upholstery cleaning or tile cleaning or anything like that?
No, but he did throw this 1-year program, which I've heard about in the past, where you get like 3 cleanings. You pay like $500 for this program. You get like 3 cleanings, and you get a couple protections, and you get like 20% off of other things that they got going on. So that meant you're sort of prepaying stuff. And the way it worked this time around was if we got on that program, the cost of today's service or that day's service would be brought down even more, and they would apply it towards the cost of that program. And I wouldn't be deducting off of the cleanings off of the program, so I would be getting, by prepaying a certain amount, I would be getting X number of cleanings. It seemed like a good deal. As long as we did a certain amount of cleanings in the year, we get our money's worth.
Did you take advantage of it?
So in the end, I talked about it with my wife, and we split the cost between her and I to get on that deal, which I think makes a lot of sense because we were at a point where we're doing like at least 2 cleanings a year, and it seems like the carpet is getting, as it gets more worn, I think a greater frequency of cleaning could help keep it alive longer. I don't know. Is that me making stuff up, or does that make sense?
Maybe.
And then you asked how long did it take for it to dry, and so they did it on 1. It was mostly dry. Let's see. So we got it done in the early afternoon on one day, and at the end of the following day, so was mostly dry over a little over a day.
No kidding.
Sense. Yeah.
Well, I mean, you just told me a lot.
Yeah. Well, I'm here to serve. I hope that helps you, Lonnie.
Do you have any paperwork on this prepaid payment plan thing?
I have just a little sheet. Yeah.
I'm curious because I have thought about trying to implement a prepaying type thing, and
I can share with you. I have a picture of it. I can share with you what it is. But here's the thing. I mean, I don't know if that drying time was good or not, but the way we roll out our house is when we get the thing cleaned, we can't help but be on it. So what we do is we get a whole bunch of these tablecloth. They're kind of like
plastic things.
They're more like vinyl-y plastic on the top, and they're always, fancy printed. But on the underside is kind of like this felt kind of fabric.
Yeah.
So,
I know what you're talking about.
We lay a ton of those. We lay a bunch of those. Sorry for the S word. We lay a bunch of those over the traffic areas, and then at night and during the day when we're out at school and work, we strip those out just to let them dry out. And because of the thing you said the other day about the fan and the AC and the heating, if I just turned it on to manual to keep the fan going, like I use that concept, that strategy to just keep air going as well. So
and it still took almost a full 24 hours.
Yeah. Is it supposed to dry faster than that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
yeah.
Do you think if I laid off of the tablecloths that would have sped things up?
We can talk off air. Some stuff. It's funny that you mentioned Stanley Steamer because I was just talking to a friend of mine earlier that we were talking about Stanley Steamer. In our industry, they are known. Now, each franchise is totally different, but they're not truly known to be the best carpet cleaners out there.
Yeah.
Did they do a burn test or anything? Did they tell you what kind of carpet you have? Is it polyester, nylon? Did they tell you anything like that? Polypropylene, olefin? Did they tell you anything like that?
Nope, didn't tell me any of that. But what I noticed was, like, the last time we had them over, the guy came in, and because I've used them a few times, there's a certain level of I'm kind of picking up on, is this guy in a rush? Does this guy really care about his job? Is he just kind of going through the motions? So the last time, the guy just seemed to be going through the motions. And then when I sort of picked his brain about stuff, I wasn't happy with his response. It almost seemed like he was kind of BSing me. And so he went through the cleaning. Then he was done, and I couldn't tell. But when my wife got home, she's like, "It's still like pretty dark, those traffic areas." So I ended up calling back Stanley Steamer, and I told them what happened. And they brought another guy over that day, I think, or was it the next day? I can't remember if it was the same day or the following day. I think it was the same day. Later in the day, and I told him what had happened. So he went and did another pass. I didn't have to pay for it. He went through another pass, and then he did the thing where you basically rake the fibers to kind of help them stand up and dry faster. But he ended up making a visible difference on the carpet compared to the first guy. So, when we had our guy recently, I told the guy, like, this is the deal, right? We had one guy come in, and then we weren't happy, and then a second team came in, and they worked, and they made a visible difference. So whatever you do, you got to make a visible difference, because I don't want to be making multiple calls and having another team come in here and all that stuff. And on the day we had this recent cleaning, my wife was home, so there was more eyes that we could on the thing after it was done to make sure that between her eyes and mine, there was a visible difference.
Good.
So yeah, I get it that they can be inconsistent and they're not the greatest.
And I can tell you a few things. Just knowing you as a personal friend, I'm willing to bet you have polyester carpet. And what those traffic areas, the dark areas, that's one of my huge hurdles that I have to face every day. What actually happens in that situation is it's kind of like how do I say this? So like, are you familiar with sandpaper?
Yes.
Real? Okay. So the lower the number, the more coarse it is, right? So like if you're sanding a hardwood floor, you're going to get like a 12 grit, 60 grit, something like that. And that just eats everything on the surface, right? But if you get like a 400 grit sandpaper, it doesn't do much. It's like pulling out your fine brush strokes on a paint job or something like that. So if you think about it, so if you take a 12 grit sandpaper on your car finish and you make one swipe, you're going to see lots of scratches, right? Because it's really coarse and thick and heavy and just it's designed to eat whatever it's scrubbing on, right?
Right.
But if you get a 400 or an 800 grit sandpaper, you could make one swipe on the side of your car and you wouldn't notice it, right? Because of the little crystals or whatever is on there, it's really fine. So that's one of my that's a hard hurdle for a carpet cleaner to overcome. When you're walking on carpet, the dirt, the dust, the stuff that's in it, when you walk on it, it's literally like taking a 400 grit sandpaper up and down the fiber. And over time, as you're walking, you got kids, you got 3 kids and a wife and you all are all over the place doing laundry, going to, bathroom and sitting in the living room and everything else. Your favorite spots, those traffic areas that you just always walk down the hall, it can become really hard, if not impossible, to pull that dark staining out. Because what it's doing is when you take like a 400, like I was saying, like on your car, if you take a 400 grit sandpaper and you just swipe it down, you're not even going to notice that. But if you do it long enough, you will get down to the primer and the steel of the car if you do it long enough. Well, that's what's happening on your carpet when you're walking. You're changing the appearance of the carpet fiber. And so instead of reflecting back the pretty colors, it's changing the shape of the carpet fiber, and it'll bounce. When you look at it, you're not going to see the pristine areas like in your front room you're talking about that hardly gets any traffic. You might have a situation where that traffic pattern may not even be able to come out. Eventually, it will get to that point where it will not come out. Gotcha. Does that make any sense?
Makes a whole lot of sense. You just by all of the traffic, it's changing the surface of the fibers, and that changes the perception, how you view it because of
believe it or not, with carpet, there's light refraction is what it is. It's a science term that we learned in high school, but it's something I live with, and you're changing the way the light bounces back and refracts the light back to your eyes, and you see so what you're describing is telling me you either have polyester, polypropylene, or olefin. I'd be willing to bet. And in fact, you want to learn something?
Sure.
All right. So if you're dealing with a carpet cleaning technician that knows what they're doing, we always go to like a floor vent or something and, lift it up out of the floor. And there's always a loose carpet fiber. I literally, if I've never been to your house before, I literally go find somewhere like that. It's usually around a floor vent, and you pull that out. You pull a fiber out. I tell the people, I'm like, before I pull out my cleaning solution, let me do a burn test. And they're like, what's that? And I said, well, every carpet fiber has a distinct smell. It's going to smell like tar, celery, a fruity smell, burning hair, a bunch of other things. So I step out on your front porch and I'll burn a fiber or two and see what it smells like. And then that tells me which cleaning solution to grab to clean your carpet.
Ooh, that's awesome. I'm going to burn something when I get home. And then I'll report back
so go find a floor register or something and just pull it up, or an edge, a corner of the carpet, just pull it back a little bit. You can yank a fiber out, tuck it back down, and you won't know. And then you burn it and then tell me what it smelled like. And I can tell you what type of fiber it is.
So then I could do that and then figure out what it smells like. And then through you figure out what type of carpet it is. And I could figure out from you what would be the appropriate cleaning solution. And in the future, I could say, I'm sorry, unless you've got such and such solution, you can't be cleaning this carpet.
Well, yeah, you could call, the carpet cleaning company and say, you can, when you're ordering up your service, you can say, well, I have a polyester and I won't split hairs with you about staple fibers and filaments and stuff like that. But you could tell Stanley Steamer that, I have, 3 rooms of polyester that needs cleaning. They should, if they know what they're doing at the office, they would note the file and tell the technician that, this person has polyester or whatever. But they don't generally do that. I'll just tell you, and I'll tell the listeners, 9 times out of 10, you're going to get a much better service out of a local, independent carpet cleaner than you will a national franchise.
All right. Yeah, before, I'll have a few minutes, but I wanted to say, before we started using Stanley Steamer, we tried this thing called ChemDry, something, they had like 2 initials in ChemDry. And I was like, okay, this at the time, the kids were pretty young. I'm like, okay, it would be convenient if we got carpet cleaning that didn't leave the carpet all wet, because all these kids, it's going to be a problem. So we went with them, and it was like, I don't even know if they really cleaned the carpet. I can't be sure, and I can't be sure if they've actually left, residue of whatever they used in the thing. Now I don't even feel like I have to clean carpets. And so it just felt like getting somebody that would apply steam and some sort of solution as the cleaning method would be the best bet. So we just went with Stanley Steamer, and out of habit, we've used them. And Stanley Steamer, you're welcome.
What prompted you to choose Stanley Steamer? Their TV ads that say Stanley Steamers get your carpets cleaner. Is it the jingle or?
It's pretty much their name. For me, seems synonymous with someone who would do carpets. Yeah.
And that is undisputable. They do have the name recognition in the carpet cleaning business. You want to know something about the marketing gimmick with ChemDrys? They're all
what is it?
Individually, locally owned franchises. So, like, I have a ChemDry in my town. It's called Doug's ChemDry. Yours, you said, was 2 initials, ChemDry. Yeah, there's ChemDrys everywhere. They use the same cleaning method. They use their proprietary labeled cleaning products, but it's the same cleaning products that I use. Theirs just says ChemDry 2000 or whatever it says. I don't know, but it's the same chemistry behind it. But what they do different than anybody else in our industry is they use carbonated water. So whereas I hook up at a faucet and then I have water softeners and stuff like that to clean with, but so I could tap into if I ran out of water, I could tap into your garden hose outside and refill to finish your job. They can't do that. They gotta, I don't know how they get the carbonated water. I don't know that part of it, but that's basically the same cleaning method. They use steam cleaning. Well, that's what the street name is called. Industry is called hot water extraction. They do hot water extraction, steam cleaning, just like I do. They just use carbonated water.
They've got a little monkey by the truck dropping Alka-Seltzer tabs in their tank.
Something. Right? I don't know how they get that. Another national. There's 2 other franchises that I don't know how they haven't been sued. But you got Zero Res and OxyFresh. Those 2 are what they do is they walk in with a pump up sprayer and they spray this encapsulation juice on your carpet, and then they run what we call a CRB, a counter rotating brush agitator, and that's how they clean. They don't use hot water. They don't remove anything. They just spray it down with this juice, work in the encapsulation and the chemistry of it. And I have the same chemistry for certain. There's 3 or 4 different carpet cleaning methods. They all have their place and time and use, but that's all they do is just put encapsulation down. And the science behind it is it's chemically going to attract the dirt to it. And the more you vacuum, the more dirt you're going to remove than just normal vacuuming. And
I really like this. I wish we had more time to go over stuff. This is going to mean a whole lot, moving down the road of house and stuff.
The reason why I say I wonder why they haven't been sued is those 2 companies. Let's say you have brand new carpet in your house, and you paid extra money to have a 25 or 50-year warranty on carpet, for the carpet that you bought. As soon as they put that machine, that juice in that machine on that carpeting, it voids the warranty.
Well,
so I'm surprised somebody hasn't, sued them out of business, to be honest.
Oh, good to know.
So,
well,
sounds like we need to wrap up.
We do need to wrap up, but I like how when we stumbled upon the carpet conversation, it's like I opened up, half like a part of your brain that was just itching to sort of, share your knowledge.
Well, there's way more to carpet cleaning than people. There's a whole chemistry and a whole science that goes with it. As a professional, we make it look easy, but when I walk into your house, I'm automatically just evaluating, is that polyester or is that olefin? I just can't turn that off. I do that at family, friends, everything else.
Okay.
And
well, I got some homework to do. I got some burning to do. Yeah, yes, I do have to go. I'll chat with you offline about the paperwork and other stuff.
Okay.
Sound good? Do you want to do wrap up?
Sounds like a plan. Yep. Let's do it.
Okay.
So
you or me? Yeah. Go for it.
You do it.
Okay. Well, that concludes another edition of the Service Guys podcast with Lonnie Beecham at Restored Restoration and me, Ruel, over at Abadam Studios. If you like what you heard, boy, that sounds like a familiar phrase. If you like what you heard, head over to iTunes and give the Service Guys podcast favorable rating. We like to say just give us 5 stars, and whether or not you want to leave a review, just do leave a review. It doesn't have to be anything big. Just say that you dig it, you like us, you hate us, whatever you want. And you can also follow the Service Guys podcast on social at Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram as at Service Guys Pod, one word. And that's a wrap.
This has been Lonnie Beecham with the Restored Restoration, and I want to let everyone know to get their life back to normal.
They'll get your life back to normal. Lonnie with Restore It Restoration.
Well, Lonnie, how you doing?
I'm okay, I think.
Were you just running?
Oh, I got a lot on my plate today, both business-wise and family-wise, and just talking to my new sister, and
Well, we can hold off. We don't have to force today if it's going to cause problems. Because I'm also kind of like wondering, are we pushing it? Should we just sort of like go with the flow, and if it happens, it doesn't. It happens. If it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. So I was about to.
I'm good now.
You're good now. Okay. So maybe we can do a good half hour.
Yeah. I got time now. I just got caught up in the moment and dealing with the day-to-day daily stress, and yeah.
All right.
So
maybe
you got me now.
Let's hop right into it. Save it, and then we'll cut off some of the pre-stuff banter, and then maybe just add it as content for them. Cool. You want to do the intro, or shall I?
Let you do it.
All right. Here we go.
This is another Coffee with Heavy Cream production.